In a single quarter of 2025, over 300,000 Black women exited the labor force. Now, get this, Black women are now the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs in America. Black women own businesses, grew 13% between 2024 and 2025, and now generate over $118 billion annually. That's crazy, right? Listen, the corporate exodus isn't a trend, sis. It's a movement. And the women that are leading it aren't 25-year-olds with TikTok strategies. They're 40-plus-year-old professionals with 20 years of expertise that's been waiting for them to claim it. So if you're sitting at a corporate desk right now wondering if it's too late to build something of your own, like your own coaching business, this video is the answer to the question you've been afraid to ask out loud. But listen, here's the part nobody's telling you. There's a specific order to leaving corporate and starting a coaching business that actually works. And most women try to do it in the wrong order, which is exactly why most women get stuck. Now, I'm giving you the right order today. Hey sis, if you're new here, I'm Addison-Stinson, and I'm a Christian business coach, and I show Christian women over 40 how to package all of their skills into kingdom work and actually get paid for it over at businesschurchlife.com. Now, if you've been around here for a little while, you already know what we do over here. And if this is your first time, then make sure you stick around because this is exactly the kind of conversation that we have every single week. Now, let's get into it. Now, I was in corporate for over 20 years. I was in sales for a lot of that. I eventually became a district sales manager. I was coaching and training leaders in a way they hadn't experienced before from other trainers that they had. And then I decided to go back to college and I got my degree in human resources management. And so I started working in the HR industry, which I absolutely loved. I was also a licensed minister in the AME church. On top of all that, I had a health coaching certification from one of the most recognized institutions. And I also have a stress management certification. And I spent years being a coach on the side, and also had years of corporate experience navigating leaders and teams and all the office politics that goes with all that. And listen, the whole time people kept telling me the same thing but in different words, and it was something like, "You are such a coach, Monique." And then I also got this, which was really cool. "You put the human back in human resources," which is so amazing. They also said that they used to not feel comfortable talking or going to HR before I came along. And that just made me smile when I would go to my desk, and I would just be so happy that I was making my team happy. And I was like, I am an HR professional. That's what I am. That is what I do. That was my title. That was my identity. That is what I got paid for. That is what I was. I kept saying that I am an HR. I'm such an HR professional. Then one day, and I shared this in another video, I sat down at my little corporate table and I realized I've been working so hard to stay at this seat, and I realized something that I couldn't unsee. And that table was never meant for me. It was never built for me anyway. And no matter how many years I gave it, no matter how many problems I solved, no matter how small I made myself in order to fit in and have a seat at this table, it was never going to give back to me what I'd been pouring into it. So I made the decision that I was done. And like I said, I shared the whole story in another video. But here's what I thought when I left. I thought the hard part was walking out or leaving the job. I was gonna say walking out of the building, but I was at home. But so leaving that job, I thought once I left, the rest of this would just kind of figure itself out. I had 20 plus years of experience. I had all these certifications. I had a story of calling, but I had no idea of what to actually do first. So I did what most women do. I tried to do everything at once. I had 10 random links to 10 random offers on my website. I posted every single day on social media. My first offer was extremely low, and I tried to help everybody. I built a website that nobody was looking at, child. And I created content that talked to nobody really. It was a lot. I did a lot. And I almost quit because I was exhausted and I wasn't getting any clients really. So what finally turned it around was when I figured out the right order of things, the order that I'm going to give you right now. So here's a framework I built for women who are exactly where I was. And I call it the 3 C's method. So it's 3 phases, 1 specific order. And if you skip any of these, the whole thing just falls apart. I know that's a little dramatic, but it's actually true. Now, phase 1 is get clear. This is where you figure out who you serve, what you do, and how you talk about it. This is the foundation phase, and it's the phase that most women try to skip, which is exactly why they get stuck. Now, phase 2 is get clients. Now, this is where you actually open for business. You have real limitations to your business, simple systems that you've created. You start pricing your work with confidence, and you start serving real women or men if you help men, and you start getting paid. And phase 3 is get consistent. Now, this is the sustainability phase. This is where you follow up. You create routines, you protect your energy, you start gathering testimonials and showing up after the initial excitement wears off and the real work begins. Now, most women try to start at phase 2. They want to skip the get clear phase and they want to jump right into getting clients, and then they wonder why nobody's biting. Now, some women stay in phase 1 forever though, and they keep getting clear and re-clear and re-clear and they never actually move forward. And then some women hit phase 2 and just burn out within 6 months because they skipped phase 3 completely. And this whole series that I'm going to do is going to walk you through all 3 phases over the next 12 to 13 videos. But today I'm going to go deeper on phase 1 because nothing else works until you get this part right. And to help you follow along, I created a free workbook called Get Clear. It's all 4 exercises from phase 1 with fill in the blank pages so that you're not staring at some blank page trying to figure all this out. So I'll put a link to that in the description. And if you're listening to the Launch Your Coaching Ministry podcast, I'll make sure to add a link to it too. The show notes. So make sure you go ahead and grab it now and follow along with the rest of this video. So here's the most common mistake I see, and it's the exact same thing that I did when I first started. You're trying to start a coaching business from your job title. So what does that mean? It means nobody's hiring you because you used to be an HR director. They're hiring you because of the specific transformation you can lead them through, the thing that you can help them move from, and the place you can help them get to. So your 20 plus years in corporate isn't background, it's your curriculum, sis. So every problem you solved at work is a coaching offer. It's just waiting to be packaged. So every difficult employee you helped is a future client you already know how to serve. Every team you rebuilt is proof that you can build teams. Now, here's the part that is really gonna mess with you, okay? It's gonna trip you up. The thing you stopped paying attention to because it felt too ordinary to you, it was just what you do. The thing people keep thanking you for, the conversations you kept finding yourself in over and over again, that's the thing. Now, there's research backing this completely, by the way, and I did a video on this as well. Specialists earn 20 to 30% more than generalists, not because they have more credentials, but because the right person can actually find them. And what your ideal client is paying for isn't information. She can Google information. She can use AI for generic information. She's paying you for a specific transformation that your 20 plus years of expertise can get them. And please understand, you're not behind any of these younger coaches. You have something that they can't fake, and that's no shade to the younger coaches. So here's your first step in phase 1, and it's the same exercise I take every coaching client through because it works every single time. It's called the authority inventory, and this is a list of at least 30 items across 3 categories that it gives your brain evidence that your brain needs to believe that you're already qualified to do this work. So in category 1 is professional accomplishments. Now, I'm not talking about job titles, but the specific problems you solved at work, the team you rebuilt after it was falling apart. Remember that? The leader who finally trusted HR, like in my situation, because how you showed up. The sales numbers that turned around because you coached your managers differently. So write down the specific results and not just the resume language. Now, category 2 is your lived experience. And this is what people forget. The hard seasons you survived, the burnout you recovered from, the toxic workplaces that you navigated, the corporate exit you made, and how you made it. Every hard thing that you went through that taught you something that your ideal client actually needs to know, write that down in category 2. Now, category 3 is your natural gifts. So what do people always come to you for? You are that girl. What do they say about you when they describe why they trust you? What did your leaders mean when they said, again, if you were in my situation, that you were such a coach or you put human back in human resources? If you heard the same thing, write that down. Write all of it down, every single thing, and keep writing until you get to at least 30 items. Don't edit, just write, just get it out there on paper. And here's what happens when you do this. Your brain will finally see some evidence because your brain builds identity from evidence. And right now, you've been given it 20 years of experience or 20 years of evidence that you're just a corporate professional. Of course, it doesn't see you as a coach yet because you haven't shown it proof that you are a coach. The authority inventory is how you start showing it that proof. You're not waiting to become a coach, sis. You're already one. Your brain just needs you to show it. So show it. And just a quick reminder, if you haven't already, I linked the Get Clear workbook below this video or in the show notes if you're listening to the Launch Your Coaching Ministry podcast. Now, make sure you go and grab that free workbook so you can follow along with this video and the rest of the videos coming up in the series. And while you're down there, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already and turn on your notifications so you'll know the second the next video in the series drops. You don't want to miss it. I got a lot coming up, so you don't want to miss this. Listen, God didn't put you in corporate for 20 plus years by accident. He didn't let you sit in those sales meetings, lead those HR conversations, coach those managers, and survive every hard season just so you could call it some background experience on your resume. Side note, can y'all hear those birds out there chirping? They sound so cute. I'm gonna try to edit it out, but if I can't, it is what it is. He was building your curriculum. Think about it and think about how God worked. So Moses spent 40 years tending sheep in the wilderness before he was sent to free a nation. 40 years looking at sheep. Doing what looked like nothing. Joseph spent several years in prison before he was placed in front of Pharaoh. Years in prison. And every one of those years was teaching him something that he was going to need when he got to the palace. And Esther was positioned in the palace long before she knew what she was actually positioned for. And when the moment came, Mordecai looked at her and said, "Who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this?" 20 plus years in corporate was the preparation, not the delay. Every time someone said you're such a coach, every time someone told you you put the human back in human resources, or you put the human back into something that had stopped feeling human, every time you walked into a room, the energy just changed because you showed up. That wasn't a compliment, it was prophetic. So here's what I need you to do this week. First, download the Get Clear workbook, start your authority inventory, okay? I need you to block off about 30-45 minutes, and don't try to do this all in one setting. Add to it as things come to mind throughout the week, okay? You're going to be shocked at how much evidence is already sitting right there in your own life. Second, write down the 3 problems you solve most often in corporate that nobody officially told you to solve, the things people pulled you aside for, the questions that people asked you that you wouldn't, they wouldn't ask anybody else. You're that girl that they would come to all the time. The conversations that kept happening with you that didn't happen with the rest of the team, all those conversations, those are your coaching territories. And then third, say one sentence out loud every single day this week. Something like, "I am a Christian business coach who helps Christian women over 40 build their coaching business after corporate," or whatever your specific version of that sentence is. Say it in the mirror. Say it in your car. Say it before you open your laptop in the morning. Your brain needs to hear you claim it before it'll believe you've claimed it. So that's phase 1, get clear. And this is the foundation of everything else we're building over the next 12 videos in this series. And if you actually do this work, really do it, not just watch this video and then close the tab, the rest of this journey is going to feel completely different from anything else you've tried before. You're not behind. And it's not too late for you, and you're not unqualified for this new journey. You're at the beginning of the right order, and the right order is what most women never figure out, but you just did. If you want the workbook for everything we covered today, plus the next 3 exercises that complete phase 1, make sure you grab Get Clear in the description. It's free, it's yours. Go do the work, okay? And if you don't fully understand what I mean when I say your brain needs more evidence, I want you to make sure you go watch this next video. I'll put it up here in the card somewhere. It's called What Neuroscience and the Bible Both Say About Becoming Who God Called You to Be. It goes deep on the science behind exactly what we just talked about, and it pairs perfectly with the authority inventory. So I'll see you over there.